Yo, what's up, guys? Your boy Franklin here, and today I'm going to be talking about the tools of life, how you can install Homebrew or any outside programs to your Nintendo Switch. Just a disclaimer, this is just educational purposes. I'm not using this for malicious intent. I definitely am not going to do this just because I want to abuse my power. But I would just want to show you guys how to do this from an educational standpoint. A lot of you have been asking for this video, so this is going to be a part 2 video of a series called How to Install Homebrew into your Nintendo Switch. The first video is your Switch patched or unpatched. If it is patched, you cannot do this. I can't really state myself any clearer. So let's get right into it. First thing you need a Nintendo Switch. Yeah, you're going to need $300 somehow. The way you can check if it's unpatched or patched is simply entering this serial code that's right here. I'm not going to show mine because obviously I'm not going to. And I have the other Joy-Con here. Don't worry about it. I'm not a freak like you guys are sometimes. Nintendo Switch. Cool. Next thing you need is you're going to need something called a micro SD card. Micro SD card. A lot of you are familiar with this. You install this in the back of your Nintendo Switch to save game files and other stuff on there. I highly recommend having this if you don't have one already, because it's a really cool tool. It allows you to save storage data from your Nintendo Switch hard drive, and if you put your stuff on here, it decreases the amount of storage the Nintendo Switch can hold up. All save files, if you put on here, will be readable for the programs that we'll be using in the later parts of the series. It's really cool. I think this one back in the day, like 3 years ago, it was roughly about $60 from GameStop. I'm sure you can find them a lot cheaper for bigger sizes. I recommend 128 gigabytes because if you play a lot of games like me, you at least own like 15 or 16 games. It does pretty much store all that shit, so I think it's pretty good. And like I said, you guys are familiar with this. They come in different colors, but it has to say micro SD. It says right here. I know my camera's blurry as hell. I don't know why. I gotta fix it. But yeah, very important tool. Next thing you need is you're gonna need a micro SD card reader. These are USB. They're pretty cheap. They're like $6-7. It has 2 slots, micro SD and SD. Now, you might be wondering what's the SD for. That's for usually for cameras. Cameras use SD cards. Your Nintendo 3DS also uses that. So what you're going to do is, this is very important because you're going to be installing this little micro SD card into here. Tugging it nice and tugged in. And you're going to inject this into your PC USB port. And you can dump files from your PC to here. You can also have your, once you complete like the steps I will show in a different video, you can extract your game save file of Sword and Shield onto PKHex, and you can just edit that file and then inject that right into your micro SD card, and voila. Very important. It's cheap. I'll always love Insignia products because they never failed me. They're always pretty cheap and they're quite effective. So need this. Has to have micro SD slot for you to read it. Next up, you're gonna need is a RCM jig or recovery jig. This jig, its main purpose is to reboot your Nintendo Switch into recovery mode. This tool is kind of effective, really effective if your Nintendo Switch is having problems. Pretty much, you're going to slide this into your Nintendo Switch Joy-Con port, and I'll show you guys right now. You want to see it? It's 3D printed. I got this from Amazon for like $7 at the time. This was like 2019, so I don't know if they still exist. There's also something called dongles, which essentially do the same thing, but I'm not familiar with dongles, so you guys can look that up. If you are not really, if you don't have really faith in RCM jigs. So basically what you're going to do with this, you're going to take out your right Joy-Con. It's always going to be the right Joy-Con. And you're going to slide this all the way. Now, as I'm sliding it, make sure it's fit, it's tugged in. You won't hear it in the video, but once you go all the way down, you're going to feel like a little budge. and you're gonna hear a little click sound to make sure that it's there and it's readable. Kind of like how if you slide your Joy-Con, your Nintendo Switch will recognize something here. Your Nintendo Switch will not do that. It won't tell you manually or automatically whether or not there's something in the port. But it's gonna look like that, and this will help you boot into recovery mode, and it's a crucial step into allowing you to inject payloads and other programs into your Nintendo Switch, particularly Homebrew. So you're definitely going to need a recovery jig. You can also use a paperclip and somehow slide this, and it technically would allow you to go into recovery mode, but it's very risky because you will damage the ports of your Nintendo Switch, so don't do it. I highly recommend getting a recovery jig or a dongle. Next up, the last thing you're going to need are two things. You're going to need a USB-C cable. This is a connection C. This is becoming a more of a universal cable because you're going to have to connect this. You're going to have to connect your Nintendo Switch from the USB-C port, which, you know, I'm going to show you guys, of course. You're going to install it there. And you're gonna, when you boot your Nintendo Switch into the external programs, you're gonna need to connect this into your PC. This is another important step. And like I said, I will show a video of how this is gonna be done later on, once the series gets rolling. So you're gonna need a USB-C cable. And last but not least, of course, you're gonna need a PC. Now, you don't really need a freaking expensive ass PC. You just need a PC or a laptop that has programs on it that allows you to do this kind of stuff. And it doesn't really matter what kind of PC or what kind of laptop, as long as I prefer Windows. I think it has to be Windows because I have yet to find any Mac programs that have PKHex. I think PKHex is exclusively Windows or Linux, but not Mac. So that's very important. And that's pretty much it. Those are the tools you will need in order to start your journey into the other side of Nintendo Switch. Whether it's installing programs, installing Homebrew, or just if you are a tech freak like me, exploring what it is, the interface of your Nintendo Switch, what's inside your Nintendo Switch. So anyway, guys, it's your boy Franklin. I hope you guys enjoy this video. I'm gonna show the stuff that you probably need here. You don't need that. Here's the cable here and a PC, you know, or laptop. Windows. If I prefer it, I think it's best, if not recommended, to have Windows because it's the best way to have those programs up and running. But anyways, guys, it is your boy Franklin signing out. Peace.